Another 2020 meteorologist, Gary Lezak. I hope everyone's doing fantastic. Big game at Arrowhead Stadium Thursday night, and a storm system, Exhibit A as we're calling it, will be developing the first big storm in the middle part of the country for this year's LRC. We're just 3 days in to this year's pattern, so be patient. Let me go through a couple things. I want to take you through what we're going to talk about in today's blog. Please read through it. The LRC is the centerpiece of this big atmospheric puzzle. ENSO, El Nino, Southern Oscillation Index. The El Nino is growing. That's the warming of the tropical Pacific Ocean. We'll talk about that in the next few weeks for sure. Exhibit A is right here. You can see here. Let me take this full so you can see it a little bit better. But there is Exhibit A, where there's a split flow across the west coast. There's already evidence that El Nino is influencing this year's LRC already. An upper high in Canada, one stream of flow over northern Canada, another stream over the United States, and there is the energy of the storm system that's diving in that will produce a potential for severe thunderstorms in eastern Kansas, central Kansas, into Nebraska, and it could impact the Chiefs game. We'll have to watch this front as it comes through. Another thing I want to show you is our model, our LRC model. This is the forecast from, let me put on my glasses here, you can see it's very small, from December 1st this year all the way through next September. And for example, if I wanted to just put in North Dakota, just to give you an example of the power of this model, I put in North Dakota and Minnesota, for example. And so just put in a couple of states just to give you an idea and push apply. Here's the forecast from the patent pending model for Minnesota and North Dakota for the next year, okay, all the way through next September. You can see here showing precipitation. Now, keep in mind, this is based on the old weather pattern. So this is not based on the new LRC. That's why I'm just giving you this as an example. You can pick any country in the world, and we got a global model. So let's say you wanted to know the forecast for the United Kingdom, for example. I put in United Kingdom. Here's the forecast for the UK for the next year from December 1st all the way through the next September. And you can see it's predicting 2 degrees above average precipitation, where it's how much rain is going to fall. It's got a whole bunch of rain there, and of course we can put in degrees C and total precipitation. So just to give you an idea, an example of the power of the LRC. The model is not running yet for next year. It is, but it's based on the old LRC. So we will update that model in the next few weeks. We will share that data with you. Thank you for being premium customers. Please read through this entry, and we will learn a lot more in the next week. Let's see what happens with Exhibit A. This next storm is the first exhibit of this year's LRC for the United States. I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak.
All right, guys. So that was Gary Lezak giving an update this week on the LRC. It was only about a 3.5 minute video. There wasn't a whole lot of information. Now, he had sent an email to me about what some of this data is indicating early on in the LRC, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys right now. Now, again, like he said, we're only 3 days into the model. But this storm system that we have coming up, starting actually this evening all the way through the weekend, the reason why he's calling this Exhibit A, and wait, let me bring up this this picture right here. The reason why he is calling this Exhibit A is because the same pattern is going to show itself again after so many days. And what's interesting about this, and again, every year is unique, and that's what makes this so remarkable. Every year is different. So why he is showing this as Exhibit A is something that we haven't seen in quite some time, and that is this split flow pattern. And as Gary mentioned just a little bit ago, that is actually a characteristic of an El Nino year, in which, remember what the El Nino was a pocket of Pacific water right down here, that is a degree, 2 degrees warmer than average. If it's cooler than average, that is what they call La Nina, and that's what we've been under the influence over the last few years, has been La Nina. This year, it is going to be a very strong El Nino year, and this is a characteristic into in a El Nino year to get this split flow. So this is why he is calling this Exhibit A. We will be watching this for the resurrection of this same upper air level map to resurface again after so many days. Now, we're only in day 3. We're not sure yet how many days are in the cycle. Last year it was 51. The year before that was 54. The year before that was 48. So every year is unique, and you will be able to see this upper atmosphere and the steering winds and the jet stream and everything that goes on above our heads. These maps, like what you're looking at right now, will be very similar after so many days. Now, what I gain from this is that I am actually a little bit on the excited side for winter. Even though Gary Lezak is, he's probably still 2-3 weeks away from giving his first winter forecast for this year, because he wants to have all the data in front of him. He wants to know exactly how many days in between the cycle so that he can have a good judge on how much snowfall that we can expect for this winter. But of course, with us only being on day 3 of the cycle, we're still probably at least, I'm saying 45 days away from being able to tell when that cycle is going to repeat itself, and then he carries that across over the course of the entire year. So if it's set up on 50 days, then he knows every 50 days the cycle is going to cycle back through. So anything that we have are weather making fronts, the upper air level maps are all going to return after a certain amount of days, and he can pan that out all the way through next September. So that's what the LRC is. But what I'm seeing here right now is that this is also going to return. What you're looking right here on your screen, let me clear that other one out, is that the same storm system, the same pattern, is going to be coming through here every, say, 35, 45, 55 days. And if this was in January, we would be setting up for a pretty major winter storm. Now, how many of these storm systems are we going to get this winter? Will there be more after this storm system comes through? So many questions are yet to be answered. But with this being such a strong low pressure system right here in the Midwest and under a split flow, meaning that we're going to have storm systems that will follow the southern path and end up right where this low pressure system is, right over the heartland, bringing us a potential for a big winter storm. So that's why this has been a little bit exciting to see. Now, if say the pattern's 75 days and we only get two winter storms this season, I mean, that's not going to affect us a whole lot. But this is what's exciting, because if you know, say next weekend we get another storm system come through, well, guess what? You'll know that we're at least going to get 2 significant storms in each cycle. And what happens if the week after that we get another storm system? Well, now we're going to be saying that we can get 3 storm systems in every cycle. So every 50 days, this can recycle itself and be a very active winter for the Midwest. But there's a lot of things that still need to be ironed out right now. We don't know with the El Nino how far south this split flow is going to make it as we head into winter. Is it gonna maybe fall a little bit further south to bring New Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, to bring them all of the moisture? With all the record warmth down here in the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to have ample amount of moisture to be feeding up here into the Midwest all winter long. So I'm kind of leaning on when he comes out with the forecast that that we're probably going to be seeing a rather active winter. As far as total snowfall goes, we're kind of in the middle. We're really not in the favorable position to get well above average snowfall, and we're way too far north to see below average snowfall. So we're right in the middle, and it's all going to depend on at least this storm system and the split flow, how far south this bottom section of the split flow will go. And that is that's what we're going to have to be patient on, and wait to find out exactly when we're going to see these cycles begin to repeat themselves. I'm hoping it's going to be less than what it was last year. Last year was 51 days. I'm kind of hoping maybe it's a 46, 48 day cycle, somewhere in that neighborhood. So over the next, say, 3 weeks, even if you want to take a calendar, I know the first year that I was following Gary Lezak and the recurring cycle, I took a calendar that I keep on my desk. And so like this storm system that's coming in, say starting today through Saturday, it's coming in on the 3rd or the 4th day of the cycle, leaving on the 9th day of the cycle. And I would put that on a calendar, that today, August 10th, which is the 3rd day of the cycle, and say Saturday, well, let's actually make it Friday, because that's when the low pressure system and the cold front will be moved by us. So, through the 13th of October, we had a rather significant storm system come through the Midwest. And then we watch the forecast, we wait for the next deep low pressure system, a deep trough. Maybe, and especially this time of year, maybe the next chance of severe weather. We take a look at the maps that are just like what you're seeing right now, and we'll put the date on the calendar. We had another storm system, say on the 19th, and the 20th come in. Okay, now, once we figure out how many days are in a cycle, say if it's 50 days, then you can pretty much do the LRC on your own calendar. You can take your calendar, every 50 days the entire cycle is going to repeat itself. So on day 3 of the second cycle, guess what? I bet you we're going to get a storm system come through. On day 10, we had of the cycle, we had another storm system come through. You can actually plan out your entire year based on this LRC. Now, granted, there might be a few miles of distortion between, say, cycle 1 and cycle 2. As you see where this low pressure system is setting up right here in southern Nebraska. There's a chance that, say, in 50 days, if it's a 50-day cycle, this low pressure system could be down here about 60, 65 miles to the south, say here in north central Kansas. Now, during the winter time, will that affect our snowfall totals, our potential to see a winter storm? Absolutely. In the wintertime, 50 miles can mean everything from 8 inches of snow to just rain. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this winter sets up, but this will give us a great indication of what we have in store. So I'm excited. I've got my big planner out and putting down the daily weather, and just keep waiting for Gary Lezak's updates. And I hope you guys are excited about this too. I know everybody is wanting to know what the winter forecast is, how much snow we're going to get. We're already in October, but you know, you have to keep in mind winter doesn't begin for a couple months. So you know, we're not even at Halloween yet. But I'm excited as well as you are. But we really can't make a strong prediction of what the winter is going to entail until we know how many days in between the cycles. Once we find that out, then we'll be able to know exactly what the weather is going to do for the entire rest of the year. And like I just mentioned before, if you want to do this along with me, and put today's date, day 3 of the cycle, storm system ends on Friday on the 13th of October, and then play along with me as we go through the next 3-4 weeks. And as soon as these patterns begin to repeat themselves, then Gary Lezak will come out and say, this is how many days in between the cycle, guys. It's going to be 48 days or 50 days. We already have the weather for the entire first cycle down on our calendar. And now all we have to do is just plug in the numbers. This is day 1 of the cycle, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to be able to tell ourselves what kind of winter West Central Missouri is going to have. So I hope you guys find this as interesting as I do. It's kind of a long video here. I'm going to be posting a link in case you missed some of Gary's video. I like to ramble on. I could be talking about this all night long. Good evening, Misty. I'm just looking at the chat right now. Any predictions for a blizzard? No prediction for a blizzard yet, girl. But it is a very exciting time for weather lovers, and just about every major meteorologist, social media platform, weather platform, almost everybody has come out with their winter forecasts already. But again, and I posted a lot of them on our website under video news. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I posted about 6 or 7 independent meteorologists and news stations that have come out with their winter forecast, just to give you guys an idea of what others are thinking about. I also posted the Farmer's Almanac winter forecast as well. And I've been going through all these and watching these. I find them very interesting, and especially once this pattern comes out with the LRC and it solidifies over the next 3-4 weeks, and see how it compares to all of these other winter forecasts that these organizations have put out here over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So anyway, I'm looking forward to the next 3 or 4 weeks. If we have a big storm system that comes in here, say in 10 days, 12 days, what some of the models are showing, and it affects us, and say we get a bunch of rain. Right now, some models are predicting here in 12 days from today of a large system coming through the Midwest, and could be producing some very, very heavy flooding rains in the Midwest. Now, just imagine if we fast forward that about 2 months, when high temperatures are only in the 30s, and we get that same storm system come through the Midwest and into West Central Missouri. Ooh, the possibilities are there. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, feel free, shoot me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I am going to be posting some of the pictures and some of this model data Gary Lezak had put in his blog. I'll be posting them on the website under maps and models, so you guys can look at. And I encourage you guys, grab a grab a little 99-cent calendar from Dollar General store and start. Remember, October 7th was the first day of the cycle. And so this is day 3 of the cycle. And go ahead and jot down what the weather's like. Jot down if there's a storm system nearby, where it went, how much rain we got, did it affect us very much, and continue that for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And once this model repeats itself, you can, from that point in time, you can actually pan out, and you can actually see what can be expected for West Central Missouri. Missy posted a question just now. You just retracted it. Did you have a question for me? I wasn't quick enough to read it. Well, and again, based on the LRC, which I'm a firm believer in, it's really just a guess right now. But if I am going to make a bold prediction myself, I'm thinking, say, and I'm using just an average of a 49-day cycle. If that's the case, then I feel like our first chance, based on just this storm system that's coming in tonight through Friday, that we will get our first inch of snow with this same system that's going to be coming in, say, 49 days from tomorrow. So, 49 days from tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and do the date for you. We've got 21. November 26th. November 26th is going to be my prediction of our first inch of snow. And I'm going to write it down here on my calendar right in front of me. November 26th will be our first official 1 inch. Based on just this storm system right now coming back through on a 48-day cycle. That is just a made-up number because we won't know for sure. Now, what happens if the cycle is 32 days? Then we could be looking at our first inch of snowfall right around the 15th, 16th of November. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do that, and make some educated guesses. Right now, as far as my guess, when we will receive the first 32-degree reading at Clinton Airport, I had put down here the day I issued the contest. I actually put down on Halloween, October 31st, on Halloween Day at 5:15 a.m. That was my guess. And of course, I don't win a free radio or any of the other. I do have some more prizes that was donated. So we do have a few more prizes for the next second, third, fourth, closest to the actual time of when we reach our first 32 degrees. So we have started over with the new LRC. We have, Misty. It started October 7th was the very first day of the new LRC. So what we're doing now is from October 7th until we're not sure when, these cycles, everything that we're going to be seeing over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks are going to be repeating itself every so many days. So what we're waiting on now is how many days is it going to take to see maps like you're looking at right now to repeat themselves. and then we will know. Is that going to be 35 days? Is it going to be 45 days? Last year's LRC was 51 days. So every 51 days, everything that we had in those 51 days will repeat itself for the next 51 days. So this year, we're just waiting to see how many days in between the cycles. That's what makes every year unique, and that's what makes the LRC so special. And the biggest piece of forecast modeling that is out there. So, we are in the new LRC, day number 3. So, anyway, if anybody has any more questions, feel free to throw them out there at me. And I will be updating. I had some sprinkles, a light shower here about 20 minutes ago here in Clinton. Didn't amount to anything. We do have a chance overnight to see a couple of showers. I am watching for the potential of some scattered severe storms on Thursday night. It's still really iffy if we will get enough instability and enough energy to be able to fire up severe storms. Now, I am expecting for us to get some rainfall. Right now, indicating anywhere between a quarter to an inch of rainfall on Thursday night. But, of course, if these storms begin to intensify, we could easily double those rainfall rates for Thursday night. So, models are all over the place right now on what this storm system is going to do. And that's also another sure tell sign that the LRC is breaking up and we're in a new pattern now, because not even the sophisticated models can agree. You have 5 different models out there. All 5 of them are showing that it's going to be doing something different, that the low pressure systems are going to be too far north, too far south, too far east. They're not going to be powerful enough. They're going to be too weak. They're going to be too strong. It's crazy when you look at all the models. And you know what? That started on October 2nd, the day before the new LRC. And you can hear meteorologists even on the radio and on TV. They talk about this. They say, well, models are all over the place on this storm. Well, that's because the new LRC is setting up as we speak. So really exciting times. I'm anxious to see what the next 3-4 weeks of weather is going to bring, because it will be repeating itself here in say 35 to 50 days. So anyway, do another contest to see when we'll get our first inch of snow. One contest at a time, Missy. Right now, I'm gonna be searching through. I think it was like 730 different guesses on the first 32-degree days. So I'm going to have to start sifting my way through all those times and dates and try to organize them in a spreadsheet. So one contest at a time. But if we don't get our first snow here, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, then that might be another contest after this one ends up that we might have, when we'll get our first inch of snow, and we can maybe throw out another weather radio. So anyway, you guys, I've rambled on enough. I will be posting a link here in case you missed anything from earlier in the video. Everybody have a great night, and have a fantastic Wednesday, hump day.